All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SLA video. So we're live right now. We just finished the SLC live stream, or the SLA Sharp live stream specifically. So a couple things I want to talk about real quick before we go on with the video. We're going to talk a little bit about Seorin. We're going to talk about the codes. So first, before we do anything as usual, we're going to give out the codes right now. So my cup of tea is going to give you guys 1,000 Essence Stones, and the other one is actually called 412 SLC Arise. I'm going to put these right on the screen for everyone to see. There are the two codes right there. Please, please, please use these codes. They will expire tomorrow. You are being warned right now, okay? So just make sure you guys use these codes before they're gone. So this is 1,000 Essence Stones. This is 500k gold and a mana power extract, if I recall. Okay, so make sure, guys, log into your game now. We're not on any form of maintenance. This is the time to do it. Now, let's talk a little bit about Seorin and everything that she is. We're gonna look at her animations. We're gonna look at her kit. And we're going to discuss everything we know about her. Okay, so first off, let's look at her kit real quick. Everybody say hi. Thank you for joining. No Lemon, I'm not going to sing your song right now. We're going to talk about that song later. Okay, so first off, she is a water range unit. She has some badass animations. She's like Goto almost with the water element, and you'll see why, okay, very shortly. So basic attack, Ice Blitz, does water damage, weak break. Seorin appears instantly and rapidly circles around with a specific spot. This is with her cycle. She does scale off max HP. She will do medium break with the support skill, and if you trigger a break, she does Elegant Charisma, which will also put the enemy in a break state for a longer period of time, increases the damage dealt you do to that enemy for several seconds as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Very similar to Goto. That seems to be now the process that they go by. Okay, core attack, she does weak break. Believe it or not, all this weak break nonsense doesn't really matter. She has such a fast attack, she breaks really quick. And then, of course, she gets super armor when she does her core. And then QTE, Glacial Spin, she does her water damage with weak break as well there, okay? So we're going to go over some of her skills and just kind of show you guys what it looks like. So here is the skill animations. You guys can kind of see there's the basic attack right there. And you guys can see her core attack right there is the motorcycle. All right, so that's what that looks like. Now, let's go over some of the passives real quick so you guys understand how the passives work and some of her skills. So skill 1 is called Frozen Spin. Inflicts percentage of damage of user's max HP. Deals water elemental damage with medium break. Gains super armor. Enemy goes airborne. Plus, if she's hit in the middle of that rotation skill, she gets extreme evasion. So no damage will be taken. Extreme evasion will kick in. Think of Kanae's skill, essentially when she goes up, it comes down, right? Polar Surge, Ice Bullets, deals max HP again. Deals water elemental damage with medium break. Gains super armor. Pretty straightforward. One thing that's weird about it, she doesn't actually have any buffs here, but her passives will show that. And her ultimate skill does have Almighty Break, and she also shows her... I will show the chroma for sure. She also does airborne here. So a really, really strong breaker, but not really that much of a buffer. So here's her animations for her skills. The first one, I think, is probably the best looking skill I've seen in the game so far. And she does, in fact, have a motorcycle in every single attack. So there it is. You guys can see the rev. There's the damage right there. And you guys can see there's a debuff on the opponent, which increases water damage. We'll show that more as well. Yeah, shut it, Go Hack. You should have never apologized. I never apologized for my shit. And I've talked to him before. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm talking to Go Hack for a sec. He got a shout out. W to Go Hack for getting a shout out. This is her ultimate right here. You guys can see right there. I'm going to go back for a second so you guys can see how the ultimate looks again. They actually did a really good job with her reactions. I think she's got great reactions. I like that she's kind of stone cold as well, but right there. Look at that. Bam. Oh, what happened? There it is right there. So that's her shooting missiles, and these missiles will play a big role in the damage that she does, okay? So it's a pretty big part of her kit. So let's go ahead and look at some of the passives. So the way her passives work at A0, when Seorin uses any of her skills, including her QTE and her ultimate, that activates Pinpoint Missile. When these abilities are used, Seorin launches several missiles, dealing water elemental damage, and then causes the Sub-Zero effect. That's what you guys were seeing above the enemy. Essentially, Sub-Zero increases the water damage taken, and it is stackable. I believe it's 10 times stackable, all right? So A1, Frozen Drift, fires additional missiles, so increases the break damage effectiveness by a percentage when Overtake is active, decreases damage dealt by a percentage of the enemy, and then when Limited Break is active, it also removes Overtake. So Limited Break is when you actually break the opponent. In the Workshop of Brilliant Light, the duration of this effect is increased. Remember, that's exactly how Essel is as well with her kit. And when Seorin or an ally successfully puts an enemy into a break state, it activates Limited Break. And in this case, when the break bar is gone, she actually becomes a DPS. So she does increases damage dealt by a percentage, increases missile damage by a percentage, also increases critical hit damage by a percentage. So she goes from being a full-on breaker to a full-on DPS at that point. Okay, just so everyone is aware. Yeah, I'll answer questions in a second, guys. Sorry, let me just finish this up. Let's go to her A2 right over here. And then we'll talk a little bit about the artifacts as well, okay, guys? So everyone at least gets a chance to see all that. All right, so her A2 is number of missiles fired by Ice Shard, Magnum, or Frozen Drift skill increases, so more damage again. A3, when the user enters the stage, it activates the Black T effect, which increases defense and max HP by a percentage for the entire team. Now, this is interesting because now this makes people think the new anniversary unit is going to be defense scaled. So the new Cha, that's a water unit that's coming out, might actually be a defense scaling or a max HP scaling. Who knows? It also restores a percentage of MP over time, and this is an infinite duration. So you're going to constantly get MP back, and you're constantly going to have that defense and max HP increase. Pretty big. Water team members and water damage percentage increases for every single member that's a water team. So very typical for an A4. And then lastly, the missile critical hit rate and critical hit damage increase by a percentage. The sub-zero and limited effects are also enhanced, so at A5. So again, making her more of a viable DPS than a breaker once the break bar is gone. Now, as for her weapon, her Symphony of Violence will only come to a close when she Concealed Truth has come to light, increases users' HP by a percentage, increases missile damage by a percentage. So you guys can see, after she's done breaking, they really want you to be used as a DPS. So that's a big one to remember. All right, so you guys can see there's all of her effects. This is some things that they just showed us here on reverse mode. You guys can kind of see her in action here. This is her chroma, by the way. It's called Echoes. And I think this is probably one of the best looking chromas in the game. There's her basic outfit, and then this is her nightgown outfit, which I think looks pretty damn incredible right there. Let me just take a quick screenshot of that, guys. Nothing about core attack buffs or anything. None of that was even presented at all. So just so people are aware, she does not buff core attacks or attack as originally leaked. Just so everyone is aware, leaks, of course, can be changed at any time, and this is one of the big changes that happen. So here you go. You guys can see how quick she breaks. Look at break bar is just pretty much eaten up. And there's the debuff right there, right? That's the sub-zero debuff we're talking about. There's 10 stacks of it. There's her ultimate. Now that the break bar is gone, she's actually going to do some damage rather than doing break. So she's a good hybrid DPS, very similar to Goto in that regard. I think Goto might actually have a better kit overall, to be honest, than her. But at the end of the day, she's pretty damn badass. So originally, when we thought that Alicia might be the trap, it looks like that's not the case. So Seorin is actually not buffing Alicia very much at all. Looks like Mei Lin is still the main buffer for Alicia. So Seorin looks like she's probably going to buff the new Cha when she comes out. So very important to remember that, okay? So now that we've completed that part, there is going to be obviously the new guild ranking system coming into place if you're D rank or above. D rank tier 3 specifically or above. So that will come out. They didn't show much of that. They did though show the brand new artifacts. So I want to go over these artifacts. Now, the first artifact, unfortunately, they didn't show the 4P set or the AP set, but I believe this is going to be the brand new DPS attack artifact. So when the 2P set is when the user uses their ultimate skill, it grants the wish effect, which increases the attack by 8%. The 4P set wasn't shown, AP set wasn't shown, but you can only imagine that the attack will probably go up a lot more. All right, so that's most likely what that one is. They did show the other ones, though. This one looks really good. It's called the Chaotic Desire, and this is going to be your new break effect. So when an attack that deals break damage hits, it's going to give you Desire, increases the user's elemental damage by 0.5%, stacking up to 20 times, and the duration is actually permanent, which is crazy. The 4P set actually increases it even further, increasing the damage that you do with the user skills by 30%, so more break damage, but also increases the user and team members' elemental damage by 20% instantly. And then the A piece gives you 30% break again, but also gives you guys 50% user skills with the break now, and then gives you 40% elemental damage. So really, really strong set. This is going to replace Greed set pretty quickly, actually. So that's going to be another one there. And then there's another 4P set here. These are the non-A-piece ones. This one here is called Chaotic Brand. This one increases basic skill damage and increases the damage taken by opponents. So think of like Mirai. Mirai does a lot of basic skill damage. This is going to be the set you want to use for her most likely. And then we have one built specifically for defensive units that's coming up shortly. This is the tag out, tag in one. Increases attack when you tag out, or a member uses, I think it's just tag out actually, right? Yeah, when a user or a member tags in or out. This is pretty much replacing Aquamarine. Kind of good, kind of bad, but this set here is going to be for Charlotte and Thomas. Increases the user's defense by 8%. When the user uses their ultimate skill, it increases their defense by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. And then if you have the 4P set, it increases ultimate skill damage by 50% one time only. Cooldown is 20 seconds. So you might expect this as well to be a big part for the new Cha if she's defense spec'd as well too. Okay. Now there is another system coming into place where you can take your older artifacts and turn them into level 100 as well, but it does cost quite a bit. It's 500k gold for one piece of armor, plus these 10 little icons here, or these tokens that you need to get as well, which you can get from instance dungeons and encore missions. All right, so I think this is going to be very costly for a lot of players, but it's available. And then they also have the brand new legendary fusion system, where you can actually craft legendary blessing stones and ruins, but you do require this brand new fusion material, which you can get from these brand new, get ready for this, brand new 4 different battle passes. Now, a lot of people are upset about this because it's a little bit pay to win, but the cool thing about this, which I think is nice, is you get the free-to-play part, still the top part. The common is free, so you can still get it, and you can actually choose what you want to get. So you can choose blessing stones, you can choose ruins. For me personally, I'm going to go for shadows, and then you guys can craft there that from the actual battle pass you choose. So you can go pay to win or free to play. Free to play still gets the top part. And then, of course, we have the third unlocked section of the armory coming as well, and that's going to be a big one as well too, right? People asking if Cell's going to get a buff. I have no idea, but that's essentially it, guys. So Seorin looks pretty damn good. I don't know if she's going to be OP, so we're going to have to test her when she comes out on Thursday, so make sure you tune into that. But I'm glad to see at least we have a really good water breaker coming in. That's a hybrid DPS as well, so we'll see how how she does overall. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.